Hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation on the University of British Columbia and specifically UBC Vantage College. My name is Mark Bavin, and I am the manager of UBC Vantage College, along with...
My name is Lee Ditch. I am the Student Services Professional at UBC Vantage College.
So what we're going to do is just give you an overview of what we're going to do this evening, this morning, or this afternoon, depending on where you are coming in from. To start with, we're going to talk about some of the reasons why UBC is a destination of choice for so many international students. Then we'll go into UBC Vantage College itself, talk about the program, and then we'll get into the admission requirements, again, specifically for UBC Vantage College, as well as the fees and costs. And of course, we will allow plenty of time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. One thing to note, we are recording this presentation, so please, you can come back and view this often as well. We will have many details throughout the presentation, so I know many of you will have questions, and we ask that you just leave them to the end because we will have lots of details further towards the end of the presentation. So to start, we are here based at the Vancouver campus of UBC. A note that there are two UBC locations, and today we will be speaking specifically about the Vancouver campus where UBC Vantage College is based. But I want to start by asking all of you, just by entering into your question box, where exactly you are joining us from. So go right ahead and start typing in where you are logging in from. All right. Well, don't be shy. We'll keep going through and click as you're going along, and we will continue. And just start by giving you an overview of the University of British Columbia. For those of you who are not aware of UBC, it is a world-leading university, consistently ranked among the top 40 universities worldwide. We're going to cover a few different areas through the presentation that you see up on your screen here. To start with, the spectacular location. Again, I mentioned we are in this case in Vancouver in British Columbia on Canada's west coast. Absolutely stunning surroundings, and we'll have some great photos for you coming up shortly. Also, we are noted for excellence in academics and research. So we will talk about what that means to you as a student at UBC and some of the world-class facilities that you will have access to as a UBC student. And finally, active learning. We will look at some examples of what that means and why it is important as a student. Things like exchange, co-op opportunities, undergraduate research, those kinds of opportunities for you as a student. So British Columbia, of course, that's in the name of University of British Columbia. That is the province in which we are based. It is the westernmost province. It is actually 4 times the size of the United Kingdom for size, just to give you an idea of how big of a place it is. Beautiful, diverse mountains, lakes, rainforests, semi-arid regions even. It's a beautiful place to study and to learn and to explore while you're here as a student. And we're excited to talk to you a little bit more. I'll pass it over to Lee to talk about Vancouver.
Thank you. So Vancouver is consistently voted one of the most livable cities in the world. It's an amazing place to live and to learn. So pictured here in this slide is the downtown core of Vancouver, and in the middle is Stanley Park, one of North America's largest urban parks. Further to the right of the slide is Cypress Mountain, where you can go snowboarding or skiing in the morning, actually. And on the left side of the screen, just a bit outside of the frame, is Kitts Beach, where you can actually go play beach volleyball the same day. Now, also in the top left-hand corner is the Point Grey Peninsula, and that's where the University of British Columbia's Vancouver campus is located. So the Vancouver campus is located on the traditional territory of the Musqueam people. We're surrounded on 3 sides by ocean and by forests as well. And previously on that last slide, you saw how close we were to the downtown core. It's about 20 minutes by bus from the campus to downtown. Now, UBC is almost the size of most towns or most cities that our students come from. There's actually about 30,000 undergraduate students registered at UBC. Now here's a picture, an aerial shot of the campus itself. It spans over 600 hectares. The main residential areas are surrounding the campus along the perimeter, and the areas in the middle are the main academic buildings. And you can see a lot of our sporting facilities as well, all the fields and our ice rink as well. So the campus is just stunningly beautiful. If you ever need a break from your studies, you can go jog along the trails along Pacific Spirit Regional Park, or you can head to the beach and surrounding any of the three sides of the campus. And here are some examples of the amazing architecture that's on campus right now. So the main picture in the center is our new pharmacy building. It looks stunning there. And then the top left-hand corner is the Center for Interactive Research and Sustainability. It's one of North America's most greenest buildings. And in the bottom left-hand corner is our Irving K. Barber Learning Center, which is one of the largest libraries on campus. And I'll pass it back to Mark.
Thanks. And so one other thing that we're very excited to tell you about at UBC is we are a very multicultural community. It is a global university. Over 140 countries represented at UBC. About 15% of our student body are international. Another thing is that you will see, literally in your classrooms, you will see people from almost any continent. Probably not Antarctica, but certainly you will have a chance to meet people from around the world, hear languages spoken from all over the world as well. And as a student at UBC, you have the opportunity to engage in exchange programs, study abroad opportunities. We have partners with over 170 universities in over 40 different countries as well. I mentioned earlier world-class research. A lot of students aren't sure quite what that means to them as a student, and we are a big research university. So where do you fit in as a student? Well, as an undergraduate student, you will have the opportunity to work alongside professors. You definitely have to approach the professors to take advantage of some undergraduate research opportunities, but they are there for you to explore. Some examples you see on the screen, there's a super mileage car up in the top right-hand corner. That is something that happened based in some of the student clubs, which actually Lee will talk about a little bit later. We have a blue whale, just showing some of the world-class facilities that you get alongside being part of a world-class research facility or institution like UBC. That's a blue whale in our biodiversity museum on the bottom right. So whether you're just a student and wanting to take in the amazing facilities or to take advantage of the outstanding research that's happening on campus, you can be a part of it no matter how much, just to whatever level that you're interested. And also I mentioned earlier the study abroad opportunities. This actually looks like Lee, but it isn't.
No.
Yeah. This is a student who is on exchange in Paris and going for one semester or perhaps 2 semesters and then returning to UBC to resume their studies. I mentioned the clubs, and that's where I'd like to pass it over to you.
Thank you. Yeah. So at UBC, we have over 300 clubs represented on campus. Now, it ranges from music to anime to Amnesty International, many, many different other clubs. And so we actively ask our students to engage in one of these or more of these clubs. Now, if there isn't a club that's available that you're interested, we can actually help you create that club and provide you some funds as well. So a lot of our clubs start off with small groups being interested in a certain topic, and then there's enough capacity to actually become an official club on campus. So most likely we can find something that you're interested here at UBC. Now, student housing is guaranteed for all of our first-year students. So if you're coming from abroad, this is one thing that you can be very certain of, that you will get a place in our residence. Now, there are many different types of residence that it will be available to you. There'll be shared rooms, which in the top left-hand corner, you can see an example of that, or there's single rooms as well. And about 70% of our first-year students actually have a single room to themselves. There are many different types of residences available. There's some really amazing residences that look like residences that you would get downtown in Vancouver. So there's an amazing opportunity to live and to learn on campus. Now, another thing that we highly recommend our students engage in are sports. So depending on the level of engagement and how often you participate, if you want to try something recreationally, that's available for you. Or if you are a varsity athlete, we do have many varsity teams as well. We have over 230 students representing Canada in the Olympics. Over 63 medals have been won by former UBC students, and we have a variety of different activities that you engage in while you're studying on campus. So it's part of the wellness and your well-being. We encourage all of our students to try and participate in many of the varsity sports or the recreational intramural activities that we have as well. Now, once you graduate from UBC, you will become a member of over 200,000 alumni that we have around the world, representing more than 140 different countries. So we have what is known as our Career Services Office that can help you really tailor your degree and whatever you're interested in towards a degree, or sorry, towards a career in your future. Now, your UBC degree is highly portable. When I was a student here at UBC, I finished the Bachelor of Education program, and I was able to go teach around the world. So I was teaching in Japan and in the UK, and I would have been able to travel anywhere and use my UBC degree.
Great, thanks, Lee. So now I want to talk to you about UBC Vantage College, actually, which is where both Lee and I work. We both started actually within the last 8 months. It's a brand new initiative at UBC, which is very exciting. And it's a program that is specifically designed for international students. And so we're hopeful that this will be of interest to all of you who are logging in. So firstly, the UBC Vantage College is home to the international program. So this is a program that offers a starting point towards a UBC Bachelor of Arts or a UBC Bachelor of Science degree. You would all need to be, as with any UBC student, an academically strong candidate. The only difference would be in terms of admission, which we'll get into a little bit later, is that you may need an additional amount of support in terms of the English language component. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. This gives you, many of you may have heard about things like pathway programs or foundation programs or foundation years, which are very common in various parts of the world. And so when people hear about Vantage College, sometimes they think that it is one of these programs. But in fact, it is actually a first-year program at UBC. So as you can see in the chart in front of you, it shows that whether you're a student entering directly into a bachelor degree and you meet the standard English admission standard, or if you are going into Vantage College, you will have the opportunity to complete your degree in 4 years. So we will tell you how that works a little bit more as we go along.
All right, so UBC Vantage College offers 2 academic streams, one in arts and one in science, and integrated within the 2 streams are our academic English support programs. Now, on top of that, we have a faculty mentorship program as well. All of our students will be put into small cohorts, and as part of that, you'll have a faculty mentor that will be able to guide you in a research project that we'll mention just right now. The first year ends in a capstone project, which will summarize all of your academic learning and also all of your first year student experience. So you'll put that together in a capstone project with help from the faculty mentor. Now, embedded in all of our courses is the academic English support. So we'll actually have TAs, so teaching assistants, in your core courses, and they'll be able to take the material from these core courses and break it apart and help you address these English questions that you may have in a separate tutorial. And so that's where we embed that extra English support into our first year program. Now, upon completion, you will then transition into the second year of the degree program.
And so I mentioned earlier the admissions. To be eligible to Vantage College, you must, first of all, be an international student. So the program is only available to students who do not essentially have Canadian citizenship or permanent residency or passport holder of Canada, in other words. You must be graduating from a recognized university or college preparatory program. And again, depending on where you're coming from, this could be from a national school curriculum, from an international international school potentially, and we would help to explain to you whether your curriculum or your transcript meet the requirements as well. You must, of course, also meet UBC's academic entry requirements because you are applying to UBC, and you would be eventually going into the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science program. You need to meet those requirements. And of course, the English language requirement for entry to the Vantage College program, again, slightly lower, and we will be outlining specifically based on IELTS, TOEFL, and some other tests as well, what this looks like. So for UBC's academic entry requirements, you may know, for those of you who are familiar with UBC or perhaps have even started your application to UBC, the admission is competitive, and it is based on academic achievement. Specifically for UBC Vantage College, it is based on academic achievement alone. You would not have to, your admission would not be based on a personal profile. The general the general requirement, again, we would be looking at your high school grades overall. Because we have two streams, we have an art stream and a science stream. For arts, we're looking overall at your academic performance as well as your English language requirements. Whereas for science, we are looking, of course, at your English language requirements, but we will specifically look at your pre-calculus mathematics in your senior year, as well as we need to see chemistry and physics at the junior or the grade 11 level. Of course, we can address more questions at the end if you have any about this. So the English language admissions standard for entry to Vantage College's international program is quite simple, and here it is. So for IELTS and TOEFL, the two most common proficiency exams that you're probably familiar with. So generally for UBC, you would, to go directly into the university, you would need an overall score of 6.5 with a minimum of 6 across the board. For Vantage College, it is 5.5 with at least 5.0 in speaking and listening bands, as well as 5.5 in reading and writing. And for TOEFL, as you can see there, out of a score of 120, you need a minimum of 70, whereas normally for direct entry to UBC, it would be a minimum of 90. And this is on the IBT, the internet-based test. And you can see that the scores or the minimum bands for reading, listening, speaking, writing are all 16. We do also have a number of other tests that are accepted, and you can see these on our you.ubc.ca admissions website, and that will give you all the details in the same level of detail as we've just shown you with the IELTS and TOEFL as well. Mm-hmm. I'll turn it over to Lee to talk about costs.
So our program has a flat fee, so tuition generally is charged on a per credit basis at UBC. However, since our program is quite special, we are charging a flat tuition of $30,000. Now, tuition will be charged once per term, so once in September, once in January, and once in May of $10,000 installments, so you don't need to pay all $30,000 up front. Now, second is the student fees and transportation. Now, student fees include all of the Alma Mater Society fees. Also, the transportation, we include what is known as the U-Pass, which is a bus pass in a part of your student fees. So that will be able to allow you to get around Vancouver quite easily by using this bus pass. So we've included that for you as well. The next is books and materials. Now, this may vary depending on which program you're in. Arts may require more textbooks, more novels. So we've estimated the cost around $1,300. Now, you can also get your books online or in a bookstore. You may get used textbooks as well. So that cost may come down. Now, the next cost is the living cost. So all of UBC Vantage College students are required to live in residence, and this will be for 11 months. So you'll begin your studies, or you'll begin orientation in mid-August, and then you'll go until about July, mid-July of the following year. So you're looking at about 11 months for room and board. So this is the actual room and your meal plan. So depending on the meal plan you choose, the fee may either increase slightly or decrease. Medical insurance is required for all of our students, and so we can talk more about that, or you have any questions about insurance, we can address that later on. But it is required for all students attending UBC. Lastly is personal expenses, so going out, eating out, buying clothes, and just having fun in Vancouver. We've estimated around $3,800, but again, that may increase or decrease depending on how often you go out. So in total, we should recommend that most students budget for around $51,000, $52,000 Canadian for their first year at UBC Vantage College. Now, we offer a wide variety of awards and scholarships for UBC Vantage College, and we have 3 different awards that students can apply for. Now, the first award, I'll start from the bottom, is the Vantage College Outstanding Student Award. Now, this is at a level of $6,000, and this is a one-time award that a student will receive upon entering into our program. And so this will basically cover the difference between a regular international students coming in at about $24,000 versus the $30,000 at UBC Vantage College. So that will cover the difference there. Now, the next level is the UBC Vantage College Entrance Award. Now, this award is of $7,000 and it is renewable, meaning that you can receive this award for 4 years of your studies at UBC. Now, our top award, the UBC Vantage College Excellence Award, is a renewable award as well. It starts off at $45,000 for your first year at UBC Vantage College, and then for your second, third, and fourth year, that will be up to $40,000. So if you're interested in any of our awards, we do recommend that you visit our website. There's an application online. Just fill it out. Please submit it by our deadline of March 15th, and so you want to get that in as soon as possible. And I'll pass it back to Mark.
All right, so in applying to UBC Vantage College, just to go through the process, of course, applying now is ideal. We have a deadline of March 15th, so we've got 15 days for you to submit both your application and the required documents. So what you need to do is go to you.ubc.ca, and you will need to start to open your account, and you do that by going to Apply Now. Then you will select Vantage College as your program option, and then you complete all the sections of the application that is required. You pay the application fee and submit. Application fee is 106 Canadian dollars. I know it's an odd figure, but that's what it is. And then you will be asked for documents by email. You will have an account, a student service center that will help to tell you everything that you need along the way. But of course, at the very end of all of this, or partway through, if you have any questions at all, we are always here to help you. We are leaving our email address that is specifically for Vantage College, info@vantagecollege.ubc.ca. Do also check out the various social media available for our prospective international students at UBC, as you can see on the screen. We will leave this here for you to review as we take some questions. So,
all right, so we do have our first question here. The question is a UBC Vantage College student the same as a UBC student? And the answer is yes. So you'll be paying the same fees and you'll have access to the same facilities and same clubs and sports as any other UBC student. So you are considered a UBC student. Your official transcript will list all the courses that you have taken at UBC Vantage College, and all the courses in our program are UBC courses. So it'll be the same Math 100 level course, for example, the same psychology course. And so that'll all be represented on your academic transcript. And lastly, when you do graduate from UBC after your degree, you will receive an official UBC diploma. So it will not say UBC Vantage College, it will actually say the University of British Columbia on it. So there is no difference between a UBC student and a UBC Vantage College student.
Great. There's another question from Bo Min in Korea about, is it expensive? Is it more expensive in the upper years after you finish Vantage College? The answer is actually the opposite. The first year, your overall costs are around 51,700 Canadian, as Lee had outlined. But actually in the second, third, and fourth years, your tuition fee drops down a little bit. And partly that's because each academic year is a little bit shorter than the Vantage College 11-month long program. So that's something to factor in. And so certainly if you can manage the costs of the first year at Vantage College, it will be not as much of an investment down the later years. But we also believe that you will be well suited and well prepared for your second, third, and fourth years as well. So, and again, just to mention, please do continue to submit your questions as we continue along here as well.
Yeah, so just enter it into the chat box below, and then we can definitely address any more questions that you have. The next question comes from Hardeep from India, and he's wondering what type of courses you'll be taking at UBC Vantage College. Well, within the arts stream, so that's called the Global Citizenship stream, you'll be taking four core courses in psychology, political science, geography, and what is known as art studies. And on top of that will also be a language and literacy education course. So those will be your main core courses within the arts stream. Now, within sciences, there's two streams. There's the physical science stream, and there's also the computer science stream. So the core courses for both streams will be math, physics, chemistry, and also the LLED, or language and literacy class, for the science students. Now, later on during your year, you'll be taking your elective in either earth and ocean science or computer science. So that will then be your elective to differentiate if you're interested more in the computer science side or the physical science side.
Maria from Mexico actually has a good question also about how to get to the next year. Are there any steps to get from Vantage College into the upper years or the second, third year for UBC arts or science courses? Actually, it's a quite a seamless process. So there's no exit test or entrance test to get from Vantage College into second year in the science or arts program. Basically, as long as you pass all of your courses and you continue to do well, you will be able to continue and register like any other first year UBC student into your second year. So that will help you along the way. And certainly we hope that transition, it relieves a little bit of the stress so that when you're in your first year, you can just focus on your studies at Vantage College. Okay.
Oh, great. And so the next question, is about transferring actually to a different school. So the question is, can we transfer to a different school after UBC Vantage College? And the answer is yes, you can. So if you do decide not to continue on to your second year at UBC, you will receive an academic transcript from UBC outlining the courses. Again, they're full credited courses, and you'll be able to take that transcript to any other post-secondary education around the world, and they'll be able to determine which transfer credits that you will receive for the courses you've taken. So your degree or your first year at UBC Vantage College will be portable as well. So you'll be able to take that anywhere around the world.
Just got another question about admission decisions and when they happen. We're at the very end of our application cycle in terms of when you can apply. Typically, from the point that we receive all of your documents, we will then be able to make a decision. Probably right now, most decisions for students who applied up till February 3rd, they would be hearing from UBC sometime at least by early to mid-April. So in your application, if you apply by March 15th, probably closer to mid to late April as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, moving on. The next question we have is from a student from China, and they're asking about residence again. So they're wondering what type of residence will they have to live in residence as part of their UBC Vantage year? And the answer is yes, as I had mentioned previously. Residence is required for all of UBC Vantage College students. Now, it's a key and integral part of our program. So alongside of our academics, we're actively programming activities in residence so students can take what they've learned in the classes and continue that learning process in the residence as well. So the residence advisors will be able to create learning communities, have study groups, and really be able to take what you've learned in the classroom and further discuss that in the residence experience as well. We want to make sure that that the integration is seamless, so we're actively working on making sure that all the programming is cohesive inclusive and is really integrated for the first year program.
Another question from a student here in Canada, actually, international student in Canada, I'm assuming. Um, uh, Wondering about how is it that you can enter with a 5.5 IELTS and only complete in 4 years total? That's a very good question, and that's a question that our faculty are grappling with every day as we're building the program and working for our very first class starting in August. And what's happening is basically the latest research is showing that language improvement or acquisition is done best through studying English in academic content. So, for example, our math professors will be working with academic English professors, and they will work together to prepare the class to make sure that they are delivering it in a way that will be allowing for learning both in terms of math, but also in terms of the English. And then there will be all sorts of support opportunities through tutorials or workshops afterwards. So it's quite an exciting and different concept. And I think for students who are concerned about their English language over time, or studying in a university like UBC, that it will help to address a lot of those concerns and fears and really help support students to make sure that they've got the skills by the time they're done their year with us.
So our next question comes from Johannes in Germany, and he's wondering how would he register for courses, if he'd have to do that individually or will someone help him? And the great question is, I will be doing it for you. And so what will happen is we're actually working on creating what is known as standard timetables. So these are set timetables with all of your courses already picked out for you. So once you arrive in August for orientation, we'll have basically a workshop where I'll be able to sit down with you and determine what's the best program stream for you. And if you're interested more in either computer science or physical science, then I will actually register you in your courses. So it'll be all laid out, so you don't need to worry about planning where to go or which courses will fit into a schedule. That'll be all planned out for you, and I'll make sure that there's plenty of time for lunch and breaks as well. So you don't have to worry about registration at all. Just make sure you pay your acceptance deposit once you are admitted to UBC, and then when you do receive any communication about registration, you don't have to worry about that because we'll take care of it once you arrive on campus.
Another good question and a concern that I've actually had students ask on when I'm traveling to other countries and talking to students is Vantage College a separate place on the campus or outside of the campus? And actually, no, it's not. You're very much inside the UBC Vancouver campus, and the classes are actually throughout the university campus. So you're not going to be separate off into a different part of the campus. You will have the opportunity to engage in all of the different resources and facilities that are on campus. So and that's very intentional. We want students to be part of the first year general UBC experience, and so we're glad that you'll be able to be part of that. I hope that helps as well.
Mm-hmm. And so we have a follow-up question actually from the question about transferring to a different school. What if a student wants to transfer to a different faculty after their first year at UBC Vantage College? And the answer is, it kind of depends. And so if you want to transfer into a faculty where there are specific program requirements, for example, let's say commerce or engineering, well, that's something that I will help advise you on. Most likely you will have to take additional courses to meet the prerequisites and the requirements to get into those programs. And so it may add an additional year onto your degree. However, if you're interested in, let's say, if you're already in the science stream and you wish to transfer into forestry or food and nutrition, that may be an easier transfer. So it will be on a case-by-case basis, and that's something I will help advise you on once you're here in the program, and we'll work towards figuring out what the best route is for you.
Another question about being able to enter after finishing grade 11. And I think that speaks to the question about whether we're a foundation program or not. And no, unfortunately, the answer is no. You'd have to complete your high school or the equivalent of our 12-year high school system here in Canada to then be eligible to apply. You need mainly what we're looking for is your high school leaving certificate. So you can't leave early from your high school. You have to go all the way through. So that again is a slight difference, because the foundation programs, they allow you to catch up on some of those preparatory prerequisite courses that are required in order to apply to university, whereas you are entering first year university through UBC Vantage College. So again, just an important reminder to look at those requirements on our website as well.
All right, so following up, we have a question about the class sizes. And so class sizes will vary depending on the course. Now, the largest class will be approximately 150 students. So this will be, for example, all of the arts students getting together or all of the science students getting together. And this so far is just scheduled for one of the courses in the arts stream. Now, most courses will then be around 75 or less. Actually, most courses you'll actually see be around the 25 to 15 or even 10 in the small tutorials. So it's really great to get that one-on-one time with your professors and teaching assistants. So the amount of contact hours, actually, we've calculated to be approximately 26 hours each week with your professors and teaching assistants.
Another good question about the courses that you take at UBC Vantage College and whether they will be separate courses, if they will be on the UBC transcript. The answer is yes. So these are actually UBC courses. So if you take, for example, Math 100 or for example, through Vantage College, then yes, at the end of the day, you will see that on your UBC transcript, and it will be a UBC Math 100 level course. So again, as Lee was mentioning about being able to transfer to another institution, even if later on the credits will be transferable because it is recognized as a UBC credit.
Mm-hmm. Now, just switching gears, I have a question about residence. And so the question is, are there houses or residence specifically for UBC Vantage College students? And the answer is yes. So we will have dedicated houses in one of our junior residences specifically for UBC Vantage College students. And so that's to ensure that we're able to do really specific programming within the Vantage College streams. And so again, we can take what you've learned in the academic courses, and then we'll follow that up in the residence as well. So all of the UBC Vantage College students will be living in dormitories or houses specifically for our students. Now, by 2016, we will have our own dedicated facility, and at that point, we will have 1,000 students, and we will have our own dedicated residence at that point in time. And so that'll be really exciting for all of those who are looking or have younger brothers and sisters that may be interested in Vantage College later in the future.
Another question about what is a capstone research project? Good question. Mm-hmm. It sounds very flashy. So basically what it is it's a research project in Vantage College that you will work on through the year. So basically you will, as you're going through all your courses, there will be common themes across all of the courses that you take that you will eventually be putting into your research project. You will be assigned a faculty mentor. We mentioned that faculty mentorship program where you will have a one-to-one or a faculty to group sessions, opportunities to work with our faculty on how to move along with your research project. And at the very end, we will actually have a culminating conference. So you will be able to show your research in a final product, a poster, a video, and be able to basically show everything that you have done in that first year and take that with you into your academic career. So it's quite an exciting program and opportunity.
Yeah, for those just joining us, please feel free to continue to type in your questions in the chat box below. The next question is about orientation and wondering about what type of orientation will our students receive when they come to UBC. So our program will begin this year in August, August 14th, and that will begin the orientation process. And so we have about 2 weeks planned out for orientation for all of our students. And this is mandatory. We want to make sure our students are well aware of the services and supports available around campus. So first of all, it will be an orientation about the university, about the residence where you'll be living, and about Vancouver as well. There will be some trips to, for example, the aquarium or Stanley Park, and you'll be able to explore the city a little more. But during the orientation, you'll be in learning communities as well. And these learning communities will begin to really get you used to what it's like to be a UBC student. So you'll learn more about the expectations and what's required of you in the classroom as a student, and what the professors will be expecting of you as well. So what type of classroom participation will be required, and what it's like to actually sit in a very large lecture theater. Because coming from where some of you might be right now, your classes might be of 30 students, but going into a classroom that can accommodate 300 students might be a bit overwhelming sometimes. So we really want to make sure that we show you what it's like to be a UBC student prior to actually attending your courses in September. So August 14th is when our orientation program will begin. It'll go for 2 weeks, and at the end, that's when you'll actually start your courses.
Great. Another question about athletics and whether Vantage College students can participate in varsity athletics. The answer is yes. So what we will do is ask you to let us know if you're interested. Sometimes coaches will specifically want to look at a record of your performance by way of a video, depending on the sport, a bit of a background on what your level of play has been, your experience, position, number of years that you've played, etc. But also, as Lee mentioned earlier in the presentation, for you to know also about our very extensive intramural program and just our recreational programs as well, whether you want to do something as part of a team, whether you've never even tried a sport before, both as a Vantage College student or as a regular UBC student, you can play at whatever level that you're interested in playing or learning something new altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great way to meet friends as well. So I highly encourage all of our students to try out any of the sports, even if it's brand new to you. Yeah, Mark and I play volleyball, so maybe you can see us on the court as well. Our next question is about their student schedule and what is the schedule like. So most courses at UBC either run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. Now, the beginning of the day generally will start between 8:30 or 8 a.m. And so it is an early start for most of our courses, but because you will be living on campus, it's not a long commute at all. The longest may take about 10 minutes to walk to your class, but at the end of the day, it's still quite short, quite a short commute there. And so your classes will begin at around 8 or 8:30. Most classes will last for about an hour. Some will be an hour and a half. And then from there, you may have 1 or 2 or 3 courses back to back. But between each course, you'll have about 10 minutes to walk to the next class. You saw earlier how large the campus is. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you walk from one side or one end of the campus to the other. Most of our classrooms will be within a general area that's very close together. Now, at the end of the day, most classes will end around 4 or 4:30. There may be some later classes, maybe some tutorials at around 5 that will end at 6 o'clock, but no later classes than that. And so generally you can expect to have a day that starts from about 8 and ends around 4 or 5 with, again, breaks and lunch in between. Now, if you're in the science stream, it may be a bit more intensive just because you have labs as well. So those labs generally run for physics and chemistry for about 3 hours. And so your schedule may be a bit more packed than an art student. However, we do try to make sure that you have enough lunchtime and breaks in there as well.
And another question about what if I change my mind? Very good question in terms of which program to take. So as with any UBC or any university student, the good news is for you in Canada in general, and particularly at UBC, it's a very flexible experience. So especially in the arts and the science areas. Within Vantage College, it is a standard timetable, so you will have a standard set of courses that you have to take, but we do have advising support. So if you are in your studies and you are in science, for example, and you're you're thinking that you might want to switch over to the arts, for example, or vice versa, or even another faculty, the most important thing is to not wait and to go and speak to your advisor, let them know what you're thinking of, what your goals are. Even if you don't have an answer of exactly what you want to do, start that conversation early, and we will help you to sort things out. Usually, in general, your first 2 years, the courses that you take in your bachelor degree studies at UBC are slightly more general. Maybe not the case if you're in engineering, where they start pretty early, but certainly arts and science and some other faculties, there's a little more flexibility. So not a big deal if you decide to change and you want to try something different. Many of the credits that you will have taken at Vantage College and in your first year will help or go towards the credits that you need for a different degree at UBC as well.
Mm-hmm. And again, just a reminder, please keep all the questions coming. There's quite a few there, so we'll try to get to all of them before the end of this presentation. The next question is in regards, to the meaning of UBC Vantage College, and if there's a significance to the name. Unfortunately, there is no clear significance to the name. It came up from a group discussion. However, we do like to say that because it is a starting point to your education, it gives you a good vantage to the beginning of your studies. So so Vantage College, we're not named after anything specifically, but we do like to think that it's a good starting point, a good vantage for your education here at UBC.
Thanks. And another question about housing and whether you can stay in housing all the way through UBC. Essentially, there's a first-year guarantee for international students and generally at UBC, just in terms of letting all first-year students have access to on-campus housing. It gets a little bit more competitive in upper years because we're trying to provide that to all first-year students. And what many students will do is they will meet many friends in their first year and often decide to move off campus, live in an apartment or in a house, and that's a great progression, and that's actually the same as what I did. I don't know about you, but I went for I did 1 year in residence and then moved out with a lot of the friends that I met. So again, there is a possibility, but definitely first year is where we try to ensure that all students have access to housing.
Mm-hmm. So we have a couple of new participants on the chat here. So if you've missed some parts of the earlier presentation, please feel free to ask some questions, and we'll be glad to revisit some slides as well. Our next question is about awards again. Now the question is what we'll be looking at for the awards. Now, because we're looking at students holistically here at UBC, we're not looking just at the grades. And so to be eligible for the awards, yes, you have to be academically strong to be admissible to the university, but we're also looking at your need as well. So what we'll ask on the application is a brief description of your family finances and how many siblings you may have, and what do your parents do as well. And we take that into consideration when awarding the scholarships and awards here at Vantage College. So please feel free to go onto our website, have a look at the application. It's not very long. And again, there's a lot of awards that are available to students, and we recommend that, though it may take a little while, may look a bit daunting, it is highly recommended that you do apply, because at the end of the day, we do have a lot of awards that are available to students, and we want to make sure that we give out as many as we can.
Great. And another question here from a student who looks like they've already applied to UBC, so good for you. And you're wondering, okay, well, your first and second choice were not Vantage College because you weren't aware of it at the time. That's okay. And so what will happen is you have, as you know, until March 15th to submit your ELAS, or your English Language Admission Standard requirements, the proof of your English proficiency, either IELTS or TOEFL, or certain approved English courses depending on the curriculum you come from. And basically, if at that point you haven't met the direct entry ELAS requirement, we will automatically consider you. So this year, because it is new and we know that there are so many students who might benefit from this program who are academically strong, but just missing the English language requirement, we will see you in the applicant pool, and if you're eligible, we will be happy to give you an offer. So certainly afterwards, if you want to contact us now that you know about us, and email us at info@vantagecollege.ubc.ca, we can flag your interest in Vantage College, and let our team at admissions be aware of that.
Our next question is about holidays and when will students be able to go on holidays or go back home? It's a really great question. So during the first term, September to December, there are no extended breaks between those 4 months. The first break will be during the end of the first term between December and January. So most students will go home and have about 2 weeks to either go traveling or go return home at that time. The next break will be for a week in February, known as reading break or reading week. And so you'll have a week to either catch up on your midterms, or some students want to go travel. And so that's up to you at that point. But again, there's midterms around that time. So a lot of students do take that time to catch up with their courses and study for all their midterms. The next break will happen at the end of April, after the end of second term. And so that'll be before the summer starts. And so generally this will be about 1 or 2 weeks, again, depending on when your final exams are. And so that's another time that students will be able to take an extended period of leave, and then your courses will start again for Vantage College in April, basically at the end of April, beginning of May. Your summer courses will begin, and you'll go all the way until the end of or middle of July. July 22nd is the last day of our program this year, and so most students will have the opportunity to go travel at least 3 different opportunities or times during their academic year with UBC Vantage College.
Yeah, and we definitely encourage you to take advantage. We're in a beautiful part of the country. Another question, and a bit of a well, what if I fail? That is a good question. So basically what happens, first of all, we will make sure that we give you every reason not to fail. We will have all sorts of supports for you available, from advising to additional workshops to tutorial sessions. We will ensure you have access to your faculty, whether in class, and you'll be able to form those relationships with faculty in the class. But if you do fail a course, if you fail one course, it is not the end of the day. That you may be able to retake that course towards the end, past the end of the program, with an additional semester, depending on how you do overall through the year. However, if you do fail 2 courses, then at that point you would be required to withdraw. But again, as Lee mentioned before, the courses that you had taken at UBC Vantage College, they will be UBC credits, and so we would help in that case to show you how to transition. There are 26 colleges and universities in British Columbia, and how to transfer into another institution, or just show you what your options are, so that you know where you're at. But you're not going to fail, so don't worry. We'll make sure that you're helped out. Thank you for the question.
All right, so the next question is about making friends, and I'm sure everyone's interested about how will you make friends while at UBC. Well, the great answer is there's lots of opportunities to make friends. First of all, it starts off with orientation, and so generally during the 2 weeks prior to starting your academic term, we have the orientation program, and so you'll be in small groups getting to know the campus and about Vancouver, and get to meet other international students as well. So you'll get to meet students right away once you begin your orientation here at UBC. Then once you actually start your academic program, you'll be living in residence. So you'll have an opportunity to meet people on your floor, within your actual dormitory, so within your house, and also within your residence as well. There's several junior residences here at UBC. So you'll be able to mix and mingle with a lot of these students in the dining hall, and really get to know other students either in other dormitories as well. So you'll be able to make a lot of friends, and there'll be a lot of clubs available to you if you play any of the sports. You may meet a lot of people through intramurals as well. And so there are great events such as Storm the Wall, Day of the Longboat, where you can get a group of friends together and participate in these campus-wide activities. And so it's a great way to meet new people, and we highly encourage encourage and actively try to get our students out there to join all these different programs, even volunteering and getting out into the community as well. That'll be part of the UBC Vantage College program. We recommend that our students really engage with the community as well. So volunteering will be another great avenue for you to meet friends all around Vancouver and at UBC.
So there's a question here. How's the culture in the campus? What is the ratio of local to international students? That's from David. Very, very good question. I'm not sure if you were here for the initial part of the presentation, but it is a very multicultural campus. So we have over 140 nationalities represented on campus. So in terms of the ratio of international to Canadian students right now, overall it's about 15%. So we have about 33,000 undergraduate students. Overall, we have, I believe, over 9,000 international students, and very well represented broadly. So it's a very diverse environment, and all the way through from your first year on up into your upper years, and then of course we have the graduate school, and there's people from all over the world. Good question. Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I think being located in Vancouver, it's a good representation of the culture and community of the Pacific Northwest as well. There's lots of people from all around the world represented here on campus. And so whatever you see in Vancouver, you'll see represented on the campus as well. And so I think it's just a really great way to meet a diverse population of people here at the university.
And also just a reminder, if we haven't quite answered specifically your questions, or please just continue to fill out or clarify your question if we kind of went off tangent. I'm not sure, David, for example, if your question about the culture in the campus, if you're talking about international student culture or the nationality, sorry, I can't, lost my tongue there, or just culture in general. I think one of the other things to mention is that UBC has a high priority on environmental sustainability. A lot of our buildings are highly sustainable. If in fact, SIRS, the one building is in fact one of the greenest buildings in North America. In any case, just do clarify questions if you have any more.
Thank you. And again, for those joining us, please feel free to enter your questions into the chat box. Again, we can revisit any of the previous slides that we've gone over already. So feel free to answer your questions, and we'll try to do our best to answer them. And again, if you would like to contact us, the email address is on the screen there. So feel free to send us an email if you have any other questions that you come up with later tonight or this afternoon. Send us an email, and we'll do our best to get back to you. The next question is about doing well in your first term, actually. So if you do well in your first term, can you automatically move into direct entry science or arts in your second term? And unfortunately, the answer is no to that. And because it is a set program, you do have to fulfill the full requirement and complete the year at UBC Vantage College. So if you do well in your first term, that is great, and most likely you'll continue on and do very well in your second and the third term as well in the summer. But unfortunately, you will not be able to transfer into arts or science until your second year, or you move on and progress onto those degree programs. And so we do recognize that students will do well, and we'll see if we can definitely encourage your active participation and help out other students as well within the program that may be struggling. But again, it is a set program for 11 months.
Another question about how much access to faculty is there at UBC Vantage College. We sort of touched a little bit on that earlier. There are office hours, in fact, for Vantage College faculty instructors, just like any other faculty member at UBC. So, and we often encourage students to take advantage of that. I mean, I know when I was a student, I was guilty of not going and taking advantage of office hours until probably my third or fourth year.
Hmm.
But it is such a good thing to do in your first year, especially just to have that chance to get to know some of the faculty and the instructors. And our instructors actually at UBC Vantage College, oftentimes they're also instructing a course at the third year level. For example, Dr. Barnes, his research area is on dreams. He's a psychology instructor in Vantage College, but he also has a psychology course at the 300 level. So you might have a chance to see him again if you're a psychology student, for example. So it's a really a good way to be able to ensure that you are being successful and to make sure you're taking advantage of the support and the services. But B, you get to know professors and you realize that they are also just people. So do take advantage of office hours. And again, because of the small class environment in Vantage College, you will have a good chance, even in class, to make connections with your instructors. So a great opportunity there just to make sure that you get to know them and do well in your first year as well.
Hmm. So the following that up, the next question is, how many students are in UBC Vantage College? Well, this is our first year. It's our inaugural year. And so we will be admitting 300 students to our program this first year. And that's to make sure that, we really have our program and our cohorts developed before we increase the size. Our second year, we'll be looking to admit 600 students. And then from there, once we have our own facility, it'll be at 1,000 students. We'll have our own academic and our own residents as well. So 1,000 students will be our target by 2016. But for this first year, we'll be looking at a small cohort of approximately 300 students, 150 in the art stream and 150 within the science stream.
Question about the physics and chemistry labs. Will they be for only Vantage College students? Actually, no. Just like we mentioned with all of the classes that you will take at UBC Vantage College, they will be throughout various buildings at UBC. So you will be using the same physics and chemistry labs that other UBC students will be using. Eventually, there will be a building that is created for UBC Vantage College, probably around 2016 or so. But even then, our anticipation is that you would have courses in different parts of the campus so that you were part of the greater UBC community.
All right, and then our next question now is about moving on to second year and if there are any specific requirements. I know Mark addressed this earlier. Just to revisit that, no, there are no exit tests that you need to complete. You just need to make sure that you complete all your required courses, maintain a satisfactory average, and then you don't even have to apply to move on to second year. It's something that will be done automatically once you complete all your courses. And so the transition will be seamless. You'll move on to second year arts or second year science, and that'll be all part of the program. So you don't need to worry about completing any further tests than just completing your courses.
Great. And another question sort of related to that is the structure of like the how many years does it take to finish UBC Vantage College? I'm actually going to go back to a slide to show what it looks like, as long as I can find it. Bear with me. There it is. So if you can see this on your screen, it shows again that Vantage College is a first year UBC program. So if you are applying to UBC Vantage College, you get in, you are able to progress in and complete your 4-year degree. So unlike the foundation programs in the Australia or the UK, for example, or other types of pathway programs that you might have heard about that are sort of pre-university programs, then this is a little bit different than that because you are essentially entering the university at the first year level.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just take us back to our our page so you have our contact information.
Yeah, and so the
Thanks.
next question is about completing the program, and will you receive a certificate when you complete it? And yes, we are planning to have a certificate of completion upon successful completion of the program. What it'll look like will probably look like very similar to a diploma and such, but it'll say a successful completion of the first year international program at UBC Vantage College. And we want to recognize that you did put in a lot of effort to one perform academically very well, but also acknowledge that you have developed your academic English ability as well. So we will acknowledge that with a certificate of completion at the end of the program.
And another question here about actually immigration. For starters, just to let you know, we actually can't advise on immigration. We're not or immigration advisors. But the question is about whether we will get a one-year study permit because this is a one-year program. That's a very good question. Because you are applying to UBC and you are tracking to complete the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science program, the letter that you would receive from the Central Admissions Office here at UBC would indicate that you are applying to a program that is 4 to 5 years long. So that's the letter that you ultimately use to apply for your study permit. So in essence, that means that it is no different from if you are applying to directly into UBC. So again, not providing advice, but we anticipate that this will not be a problem for you, so that you will be able to receive a full length study permit. Very good question. But even if it were to be shorter, generally you can go back, or you can apply within country if you are in status. But again, we have 2 dedicated immigration advisors at UBC who can basically assist you with any of those kinds of questions once you get here, if you need to extend or do any of those other items as well.
Yeah, and to our new visitors, again, please feel free to ask us any questions that you may have about Vantage College or about the University of British Columbia, and we'll happily address those as we go along here. So the next question is in regards to something that we actually dealt with earlier. Let me just pull up a slide here, and sorry, just bear with me for one moment. And it was just about the cost of the program. So there's the slide. And it was just about medical insurance and if it is required, and more details about that. And so what will happen is, coming to UBC, we will automatically enroll you into a program called IMED, International Medical Insurance, and that will basically be covered for 3 months while you're here beginning your studies. Now, during this time, we will actively encourage you to apply for what is known here in BC as MSP, the Medical Service Plan. And this is required for anyone staying longer than 3 months in BC. And basically, this will provide you with a basic medical insurance required if, for example, you need to visit the doctor, or unfortunately, you may have to go to the hospital. That'll cover most of those basic costs right there. So it is a monthly fee that will be charged to you directly from the provincial government, and you'll be required to pay that. However, if you do happen to have an accident or require medical care, that will be covered automatically. So you wouldn't have to pay upfront when you go to the doctor or the hospital. And so that's all covered and included in that cost of living there that we calculated for. And so we'll explain to you how to apply for MSP and what is covered by your insurance once you're here during your orientation.
Great. And actually, another question here about work and whether you can work as an international student. Yeah, it's again indifferent. So whether you're a UBC Vantage College student or a UBC student, as an international student on your study permit, you do have access to work. There are you should visit. I actually don't. I'm sorry. We should have included it on our presentation, but I believe it is. either international.gc.ca or look for Citizenship and Immigration Canada. They do have a section on their website that talks about all of the ways that you can work as while you're a student, including working part-time during your studies. And then even after you graduate, there's something known as the post-graduation work permit, and they will have all the details of what the eligibility criteria are for that. So, but you also do have a couple of other opportunities with through UBC, and that is through our co-op education program. So you can work, you have work terms built into your programs where you can take one semester in between your academic studies, and you get to do work that's related to your area of study. There are also research opportunities. So a lot of faculty get funding to hire research assistants, for example. So if you're really interested in a particular area, or you get to know a professor who's doing really cool stuff, or something that's interesting to you, then definitely seek them out, because in some cases you are able to be hired on as a student researcher.
I want to welcome our new guests here to this presentation. If you've missed anything, this is being recorded, so you will be able to watch this presentation over again. If you do have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box below. The next question is in regards to the student visa again, and this is from a high school student, and they're wondering if if they have a student visa already for their high school, do they need to get a new one for the university? And the answer is yes. Your original study visa is for high school only, and once you're admitted to UBC Vantage College, you will need to renew it and get it updated for your university studies, because the length and the duration of the studies is different. So you will have to get that updated, because the expiry date will need to be moved forward for those cases. So make sure that if you do have any questions, again, please contact us, and we will then advise you to contact the necessary immigration advisors that are more than happy to answer any of your questions.
I'm just noticing there's a few more questions coming up about admissions. So for some of you who may have missed the earlier portions, I'm just going to scroll back to some of the admissions details somewhere in here. Bear with me. There it is. So this is the English language admission standard portion. So for those of you who had more recently tuned in, the IELTS requirement, or the English language requirement to get into UBC Vantage College, is slightly lower than it is to get into UBC directly. But again, it is a 4-year program from start to end for your degree. So it's no additional time. It's just that you have an extended 11-month first year experience, during which you will have a very significant amount of English language support, and also academic support, academic writing, and English support as well. So again, for IELTS, it's 5.5 overall, minimum 5.0 in the speaking and listening, and 5.5 in reading and writing. For TOEFL, it is an IBT score of 70 overall, with at least 16 in each band. And to mention again, for regular entry into the direct arts and science programs, for IELTS, it's normally 6.5 with at least a 6 on each subband, and then for TOEFL, it is 90 with either 21 or 22, depending on the band, reading, listening, writing, or speaking. And again, just to remind you to go back to the you.ubc.ca admission site, because that contains all of the information. Also, depending on where you're coming from, there's a section that tells you the kinds of grades that would be considered competitive in general. It's a suggestion. It's not, don't take it too literally, but it gives you some guidance around what would be expected as well. and I think in your admission question, you're probably also asking about the academics. So for here, I just wanted to point out again, for science, we're looking particularly for your senior year math score. So grade 12 math or pre-calculus. And we need also chemistry and physics at the junior or grade 11 level. And then sort of beyond that, we're just looking at your overall GPA, particularly in your junior and senior years, and to assess your readiness to come into UBC, and particularly UBC Vantage College. For the arts stream, we're looking overall at your academic performance. So there's no course-specific requirement, and but if you have any other questions, I know that's a lot of information. Do just you can either contact us directly. Again, I'll go back to our general contact information slide, so you can email us or keep asking us questions as we go along.
There was a follow-up question to that and about how to apply to UBC Vantage College. So we'll scroll back one more slide here. And just to let you know, the deadline is coming up shortly. It's March 15th, so you have about 2 weeks to apply. So I recommend that you do visit the website, you.ubc.ca, tonight or this morning, if possible, and go ahead and create an account. It is completely free. And so go on, create your account, and then you'll be able to click on Apply Now. So once you click on that button, it'll ask you some basic information. First of all, it'll be biographical information, so name, age, where you're living. The next section will be based on your academic history. So where are you studying? How long have you been studying? So that's where you'll put your high school name. Then next, you'll be asking you what programs you're interested in. So this is where you'll select UBC Vantage College International Program, either the arts stream or the science stream. Now, please be aware that the undergraduate admission application for our direct entry programs has expired. It was February 3rd, so you're unable to apply for any of their direct entry programs. However, you're still eligible to apply for any of the Vantage College programs. So those will be available to you until March 15th. Once you've selected your 2 program choices, so you're able to choose 2 programs on the application, you'll move on to the next section asking you to choose housing. Now, if you automatically choose UBC Vantage College as one of your program choices, it automatically selects housing for you because that is required. So you don't need to worry about checking that off. It'll be automatically grayed out. And the last part will ask you to submit the application fee. So it'll be an application fee of $106. So it'll be $56 for the application, and then $50 for housing as well. So that's all included together. Oh, sorry, correct. That's $106 for the application fee, and then $50 for the housing. So $156 altogether. And you can pay that online with a credit card. And so you do not actually submit the application to UBC until you make that payment. So if you want to save your application and come back to it later, you're definitely able to do that. So you don't need to make the payment right away. However, we do not actually receive that until you make the payment. Okay, so make sure that you actually click submit, make the payment, and then that's when we will receive your application. What will happen is you'll receive a follow-up email right away acknowledging that we have received your application, and so that will go to the email address that you supplied to us on the initial application. And then within about a week or so, we will send you a follow-up email, and this email will come directly from the admissions office. And this will be a specific email tailored to each individual student. And this email will outline all the necessary documents that you need to submit. Generally, these will be high school transcripts. They have to come in a school sealed envelope directly from the school to UBC. It cannot be handled by you or anyone else. Only the mailman or mail person can handle it. You can courier, or the school can courier it to us if they wish. However, it needs to come from the school directly to UBC. Additionally, we will require your IELTS or TOEFL scores to be sent in directly to us as well, and that can come from the testing agency. So all you'll need to do is go to the testing agency's website, pay the fee that they require, and have them send your scores directly to UBC as well. And once we receive all of your documentation, then we can begin the evaluation process. And it's a very quick process to do the evaluation for our students. And so as soon as we have all the required documentation, that's when the evaluation process will begin. Then we will then contact you by email to let you know if you've been accepted, hopefully, to the university. Okay, so make sure that you do apply ASAP because the deadline is March 15th. If you have applied already, thank you very much. Please note that the documentation deadline is met March 15th as well. So if you haven't submitted your documents, please have your school or the testing agency send those documents right away.
Another question, tough question. What is unique about UBC Vantage College? That's a little broad, but maybe to help illustrate some of that, I'll try to go back and again, I'm just trying to read my screen here. I'm going to guess. Nope, that is another section. We can go over some of the, here we go. Firstly, again, that UBC Vantage College is a first-year experience at UBC. So you are a UBC student. As a student who is coming in with a slightly lower English requirement, you know, you get the benefit of both being a UBC student on the great campus at UBC's Vancouver campus, as well as having all of these additional supports. Not only the supports, but also the opportunity, as we're showing here, we have a faculty mentorship program that you're having right in your first year experience at UBC. So as you're going through the program, you will be able to connect with your fellow classmates in your work towards a culminating research project that you will also receive help with directly from a faculty member. So that's a pretty rich, unique experience that you'll be able to have right in that first year. And then upon completion, you just progress again right into your second year at UBC. So it's quite unique in that all of your, you won't have these separated out ESL courses. They will be fully integrated into your core math, physics, geography, political science, psychology type courses, depending on which of the streams you choose at UBC Vantage College. And then through those courses, you will be learning and improving your English content, which is specifically designed for students to develop their English language ability.
Thank you. So the next question we have is, how large is the campus? Well, as you can see behind Mark and myself, we do have a picture of the campus, but we'll put it back on the screen here as well as one of the slides. We had an earlier picture. Just bear with me for one moment. So here's a picture of the university itself. As you can see, it is a very green campus. So we do have a lot of grass and trees. So the air is always very clean here, very fresh. And we're also right by the ocean as well. So you'll be able to, have lunch at the beach if you wish. We're surrounded on all three sides because we're on a peninsula by water. We're also surrounded by forest as well. And so again, as I mentioned, we do have many jogging trails through the forest. So if you want to take a break and go for a jog, there are many different trails around campus, so you do enjoy those jogging trails. We also have a lot of beaches surrounding the campus, so during the summer, it's a beautiful time to get out and enjoy the sun as well. Around the perimeter of the campus, so that's where mainly the residences are, and so on the far left-hand side of the screen, you can see what is known as Marine Drive Residence, so that's the very far left, and in the center, the main portions of the campus there, that's where all of our academic buildings are. So generally from one end to the other end of campus is about 1 kilometer. And so you can walk that fairly decently in about 10-15 minutes if you're a quick walker. Generally, you will not have classes from different ends of the campus. You're mainly centered around one local area. So generally, all the arts courses are in one end, and then all the science courses will be within the arts center. The science area. And so you will have a good sense of what the campus is like. And it's not that large. It does look intimidating on picture. But once you get here, you will see that it is quite a close-knit community, and you'll be able to get around quite easily. A lot of students do bring bikes, and if you feel like you want to maintain that active lifestyle, you can bike all around campus, and we do have secure bike lockers where you can lock up your bikes. We also have bikes that you can share as well, so you can rent a bike and get around to your classes. But mainly, most students just walk between their courses, and so it's really easy to get in between classes. Generally, you have about 10 minutes between each class, so you should have enough time to have a bathroom break, chat with your friends, have a little snack before you go into your next course. And so don't worry, that time is planned out. So when you do look at your schedule and you see two courses back to back, don't worry, we have planned in there. So each course is actually only, if it looks an hour long, it's only actually 50 minutes long. And if it's an hour and a half long, it's actually about more like 80 minutes long. So we do include that time to travel between courses. And now, if you are living in residence as part of the UBC Vantage College program, you will be in one of the residences there. So you don't have to worry about that commute time between, waking up, getting ready, having your breakfast, then going to class. It is pretty easy actually to go back to residence to have lunch as well. So we encourage all of our students to, really take part in the dining hall experience because the food there is really great as well. I had lunch there this afternoon, and Mark joins me a lot of the time as well. So we do encourage our students to, really try out a lot of the restaurants on campus. We do have many restaurants in the student union building, and so there's Subway, there's some pizza places, Chinese food, sushi. So that's on campus, and we do have other restaurants just located off campus to the right hand side there. If you look at the screen where a couple of the towers are, and there are more. Restaurants off campus as well. And when we do say off campus, I really mean it's a 5-minute walk. And so there's many other restaurants which you can enjoy there. So if you want some burgers or anything else, you can definitely enjoy a wide variety of cuisine. Again, it's quite an international representation in the restaurants as well available on campus. And so, yeah, if you don't want to eat in the dining hall or you have friends and you want to, take them out for, a nicer meal, you can definitely visit any of the restaurants on campus as well.
Yeah, you definitely will not starve on campus, so
Definitely not.
don't worry about that. Another question, and I think probably triggered by this photo and this image, is the climate. I think a lot of people have this impression that Canada, in all corners of the country, is freezing cold and covered in snow about 8 months of the year. Not so. Actually, Vancouver has a very mild climate. It's very temperate, which hence our rainforests. You see trees that grow and green grass on the ground year round. That also lends to the very active lifestyle that people in Vancouver enjoy, whether you're a student coming here for 4 years or whether you live here or were born and raised here. It's one of the great things of why people love to live in Vancouver. Typically, what you can expect in the wintertime, and we're speaking in degrees Celsius here, usually an average daytime high might be around 7 or 8 degrees, maybe a little bit more. We've had a couple of nice days lately, maybe even up to 10 degrees. We will occasionally, there will be snow that does happen, but oftentimes it melts by lunchtime the next day. So the snow is where it should be, up in the mountains. We're very close to the North Shore Mountains. We have 3 ski hills that are basically half an hour to 45 minutes from downtown Vancouver. And of course, Whistler, which hosted the 2010 Winter Olympics, is about 2.5 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours away. And in fact, in terms of some of the athletic facilities, UBC hosted or had benefited from some of the new athletic facilities that were created. So you can benefit from that as a student. In the summertime, it's comfortable. It's not hot, but we actually last summer we had a record-breaking summer of almost, I believe, a month and a half, no precipitation, days well into the high 20s, even low 30s of Celsius. So it can be very, very nice. People are out on the beach playing beach volleyball, out kayaking, swimming, going to local lakes, etc. So again, just in terms of that ability to be out in the outdoor environment year-round is something that you will notice people riding their bikes to school and to work every day, and being involved in playing soccer year round. That's partly why the national rugby team is out on the west coast as well, because they can practice. A lot of our professional athletes in Canada as well find their home in on the coast of BC because they can be outside all that time. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and there was another follow-up question to that as well, Mark. I guess based on this picture, and there was a question about what type of sports or how many sports do we have on campus? Well, I don't know the exact number there, but you can see there are many different fields there. So we do have football, baseball, soccer, track and field. There's all of the ice sports as well. So there's hockey, probably most likely some skating as well. I know there's indoor sports such as volleyball and basketball, table tennis. We do have a dedicated tennis facility as well. And so here's just a slide taking a look at all the different sports that are available and the Olympians that have actually come through our varsity and sport program. As you can see, we had over 131 students participate in the Olympics itself, and 63 of them winning medals, and including 18 golds. We have 37 varsity teams, so these are very high athletic, very intense participating athletes, and so they represent UBC and Canada generally as well. We have 8 different recreational leagues, so these are leagues that you can participate in at a very recreational level. So if it's your first time playing a sport, you can definitely get engaged, or if you're a seasoned veteran, you can play as well if you're not quite at that varsity level. However, if you want to play at a very competitive level, that's available to you as well. You can get a team together of your classmates or your dorm mates as well, so you can really put any type of team together in many of these sports. We have other different activities represented as well. We have a vibrant dance community, and we have also a very strong martial arts community as well. Many different types of martial arts represented, from mixed martial arts to Aikido to Judo, Taekwondo, Karate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, almost any type of sport, you name it. We definitely either have some sort of club or some sort of athletic facility that can definitely support it as well.
Great. We actually just had another question about the faculty or the instructors at UBC Vantage College, and are they different from UBC faculty? Actually, they're not. You might have missed earlier, I mentioned we have I was giving the example of Dr. Barnes, who is both an instructor in Vantage College in psychology and also instructing in third year at UBC. So that's one of the other great unique things about UBC Vantage College, is that it is a program that was created and is being taught by faculty from UBC. In fact, we even have award-winning faculty. We have a couple of our instructors who have won the Killam Prize for teaching, which is one of the highest awards in terms of teaching that you can receive. It's an honor among the UBC faculty. So you have great faculty who love teaching students right in that first year environment within Vantage College. And again, that great opportunity to then meet them later in upper years. So that is to say, just as you are a UBC student when you're at Vantage College, your faculty and your instructors who are teaching your courses are also UBC faculty and instructors as well. So it's consistent throughout.
Yeah, the next question is asking about our 2 campuses. So we'll move back to, I guess, our first slide here. It might not show as much detail here, but you can see that there are 2 campuses. We do have our main campus in Vancouver. We also have a second campus located in the Okanagan Valley in the city of Kelowna. And so there's quite a size difference between the two. Vancouver has approximately between 2 to 3 million in population, where in Kelowna it's only a couple 100,000. So the Kelowna campus is much smaller than the Vancouver campus. And it's designed for those students who want a more intimate learning environment. So class sizes are slightly smaller than what you would have in the Vancouver campus. And the general area as well is slightly smaller as well. What's great about the Kelowna campus is the facilities are all practically brand new. It's about 7 years old, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so a lot of the facilities are state of the art, brand new. So if you want, a really great, beautiful campus, I would highly recommend that visit the website. We do have online virtual tours of both campus, and you can see that what it's like to actually have a look at the Kelowna campus. Now, in the Okanagan Valley, it is a bit different in weather-wise, so it's not as temperate as Vancouver. The summers are generally a bit hotter, and the winters are definitely a bit colder as well. The snow definitely sticks around for most of the time in the winter. However, again, because the campus is a bit smaller, you don't have to worry about walking around as much as you would on the Vancouver campus. Now, about the programming as well, there are many different faculties on the Okanagan campus. They have very similar programs to what we have here on the Vancouver campus. So there's the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, there's engineering, there's the Bachelor of Management program as well. And so you most likely, if you're interested in a program on the Vancouver campus, there probably is the equivalent on the Okanagan campus as well. Mark, I know you came from the Okanagan campus. Maybe do you have anything to add to that as well?
Yeah, actually, I worked at the Okanagan campus last year. I had the chance to fill in a job there. It was an absolutely stunning campus. Yes, they did spend about $500 million on new facilities. So the laboratories, the student residences, a lot of the lecture halls, they're absolutely state of the art, brand new. And also the climate. It's actually they nickname it Napa North because there's so many wineries in the region because it's such a warm, dry climate during the summer. There is more of a full season in the wintertime, but again, you have access to great outdoor recreation in Big White and some of the ski resorts nearby. So students enjoy, being out in the open. There's lakes literally surrounding the campus. There's a large Okanagan Lake is very close. And also just with the community, there's 9,000 students on that campus, or almost that many students. So you get to meet a lot of people quite quickly. So yeah, it's a great campus. One other thing I just wanted to mention is that we're noticing there are a couple more people continuing to log in. So please do submit your questions online. We'll continue to answer them as we go through. And if we don't get to any, of course, at the end, we will be happy if you send us an email we'll put up the final slide to show you our email address, info@vantagecollege.ubc.ca. And but in the meantime, I do have another question about engineering and whether you can go into that program from Vantage College. At this point, for the 2014 entry, if you are a junior student, I have potentially good news because we are working with the Faculty of Engineering for the 2015 entry point. But for this year, it is for arts and for science. If that is your top choice for engineering, I would not recommend that you basically look at UBC Vantage College as a direct route to that degree program. Basically because we just want to be sure it's a large investment. It would take you potentially at least 5 years to go that route because of the prerequisites of the courses required in engineering. Basically, they have a very standard timetable that goes over the second, third, and fourth years. So some of the courses that you would need to have taken in the first year, you would have to take after Vantage College and then apply to get into the engineering faculty. So at this point this year, it wouldn't be an option or an easy option necessarily. I would just focus on arts and science for Vantage College. And then for next year, though, stay tuned. If you are a junior student, please be in touch with us because we will keep you posted about the developments of the engineering program. We are still, I believe, for the Okanagan campus, if you are interested in engineering and a UBC degree, you could apply through the English Foundation program at the Okanagan campus as well. So keep that in mind. And again, if any of this is not very clear to you, we're happy for you to email us, and we can have a regular conversation, or even talk to you on the phone or on Skype, whichever is easiest.
The next question comes from a U.S. High school student. They're on break right now, and they would love to learn more about campus tours and if it's possible to come see the campus. And yes, definitely, we do welcome all visitors to come and join us on a campus tour. The easiest way to register for a campus tour, thank you, Mark, is to register online at you.ubc.ca. Create an account on that site, and then what you can do is there's a link for campus visits and events, and there may be a link there, I believe, for campus tours. We do have tours running every day, Monday to Saturday. Unfortunately, we don't have any tours on Sundays. However, once you go online and you take a look, you can see that the tours run every day, and they do run at different times each day as well. Each tour lasts approximately for 2 hours, and so you'll begin with a brief presentation by one of our student ambassadors. So these are senior students who are amazing leaders and student ambassadors across campus, and so they will be taking you onto your tour across campus. And so things you'll get to see on campus are the amazing facilities that we have. For example, the Student Recreation Center, the Student Union Building, which is under construction, actually. We're having a new Student Union Building constructed, which will be hopefully completed very soon. And it looks amazing right now from what I can see. And then you'll also visit some of the academic facilities, and you'll also get a tour of the residence as well and see what an actual first year or junior residence looks like. So that tour lasts about for 2 hours. And then after the end of the tour, you'll meet back in what is known as the Welcome Center, where you began the tour. And then from there, an advisor can help answer your questions. So if you are an international student or a domestic student, we'll have advisors that can handle all of your questions and at that point in time. So I do recommend that if you do have any time the next few weeks, definitely come. If not, the tours run all year long, and so you can sign up online for any of those tours. And as I mentioned previously, there are online virtual tours as well. So if you're unable to come to Vancouver or the Okanagan campus, because they do have tours at the Okanagan campus as well, please feel free to access any of the virtual tours online. It's a great resource to actually see and get a sense of what it actually looks like on campus. And there are virtual tours and images of the residence as well, so you can give an idea of what your room would look like if you were to move into residence. So again, please visit the website you.ubc.ca, and it's rich with resources there.
Another good question from somebody, I'm guessing you are in the 10th or 11th grade, and good for you, you're doing your homework, wondering about summer programs where you could come and reach us and learn more about UBC. So that, very good question. We do have a range of possibilities. If you're looking for ESL programming, for example, if you are looking to continue to improve your English language while you are coming to check out the UBC campus, you can come to, we have an English Language Institute on this campus, and they do have summer programs. Some are 4 weeks in length, some are a little bit longer, 6 weeks in length. And we do have a contact, so again, you can be in touch with us if you like, or you can, I believe it's eli.ubc.ca if you want to find out more about those summer programs. There is also an outstanding summer scholars program that is offered on the Okanagan campus, and it is focused on environmental science and sustainability. It's a 2-week program in July, and this would be its 3rd year, I believe, that it's running. It's a really great experience. So if you wanted to come and you take the morning classes with UBC faculty, and again, the same faculty that are working in the environmental studies or environmental sciences area and sustainability courses that they offer. And then in the afternoons, you go out into the field and to take what you learned in the classroom and go out and see some things. You also get to do some excursions. So a really great chance to go there. And I would also recommend, if you're doing that and coming all that way, then I would say certainly take advantage of being in British Columbia and come to the Vancouver campus. And as Lee just mentioned, we have tours running all through the summer, so you are more than welcome to come and visit us as well. If you have any other specific questions about summer programming as a junior student, or earlier, do let us know. We also have a number of recruitment and advising staff who are traveling to many schools around the world, over I believe 75 different countries. So it's a great opportunity to learn from them. If you know that UBC is in your region, you can get some of that information as well.
Great, thank you. And so just be aware of time here. We're coming close to the end of the presentation. We do have some people that have just recently joined us. So if you have missed anything, again, this presentation is being recorded, so you can revisit this presentation at a later time. We have our contact information on the slide here, so you can definitely send us an email if you do have any specific questions. Otherwise, just wrapping up the last few questions here. Again, please feel free to type in any questions that we may not have addressed during the presentation, and we'll try to get to it as soon as possible. The next question is just basically how would a student contact us if you do have any more questions? So the website is vantagecollege.ubc.ca. So we do have a wide variety of information there specific to UBC Vantage College and the international program. And so you can contact us directly at the email address on site or on the site there. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We do have a YouTube channel as well. We do recommend that you follow the blog, actually. That has great information and up-to-date information about admissions to UBC as well. Lastly, for more information, I recommend you.ubc.ca. This is our main admission website. This is the site that has the most information about admission to UBC, rather if it's the Okanagan, Vancouver campus, or about Vantage College as well. It has all the information about all the different programs. And if you're interested in a specific program, for example, you can learn more about that as well. I know that with limited time today, we weren't able to address all the programs available on campus, but if you do have any questions, I would recommend you visit you.ubc.ca, and from there you'll be able to find more information about all the wide variety of programs that we do offer for first-year entry at UBC.
Great. And one more question. Just wondering about what to expect in the first semester. It's a very good question and tough to answer. It's very much dependent on the individual, and I would say that obviously you're going to experience meeting a lot of people, starting with our orientation program, which is a really great thing, and then from there, really it is up to you. You will have a lot of time in the UBC Vantage College program, of course, taken up by the classes that you will have, and then we'll have all sorts of social programming surrounding all of the classes and where you're living on campus in the residences, etc. So you'll find that it's a very full sort of lifestyle as you're working through that first semester. And important to start right from the beginning and take advantage of all of the resources that you'll have available. When you are first introduced into UBC Vantage College, you will have, in the orientation, you will be shown where to find everything that you need, both while you're at Vantage College and then also once you transition into the other years as well. So hopefully that explains it. It's kind of vague because I think everybody has a different type of interest in what they're going to study. So yeah, for me, I was playing volleyball with the campus. So it was a very different kind of experience, but others, just know that we will make sure that you have access to the things that you need.
Our next question comes from Marwa, and they're asking about a break in their study and if they're still admissible to UBC. And so generally, if there's a period of 6 months or greater in your studies, then what we'll ask you to do is submit what is known as a statement of activities. So for example, you can tell us, if you've been working or volunteering or doing anything outside of the classroom, you can let us know in what is known as a statement of activities, and we will actually contact you and request that information. So it can be a short email or a short explanation on a Word file. It doesn't have to be very long, just to outline what you've been doing to have that break in your academics. And then what we'll do is we'll also take a look at your most recent academics. So if it was either high school or college which you've attended, then we'll go back to that information to determine your admissibility to the program. So it is on a case-by-case basis, but generally, if there is a break, we just ask for what you've done, and that'll be a statement of activities. And then from there, we'll take a look at your previous, most recent academic studies to determine your admissibility.
I just had another sort of related question, but different. We have a student who has gone to a number of different schools over the last final years of school, and wondering if that is going to be challenging in terms of being admitted. Absolutely not. So what we will, it means a little bit more work for you, because what you will have to do is ask each of your the schools that you attended to send the transcripts. We generally suggest the last 4 years, because we want to see if you had English in your schooling as far back as 4 years ago. Academically, we're mainly looking at your last 2 years, but this should not discount you from being considered. We would absolutely welcome your application, both to UBC Vantage College as well as to UBC in general. So just if you have questions or there's confusion around how to deal with all of these different documents, just let us know. As Lee mentioned earlier, it is important that all of the documents you send come directly from the school, and rather than, a document that was official when it came to you and then you forward it to us, we need it to be sent directly from the school to the University of British Columbia. So I hope that helps a little bit. And again, for those who may have just joined, March 15th is the deadline for both the application as well as the documents that are required to apply to UBC Vantage College, which, again, just to mention, is accessing the Bachelor of Arts degree and the Bachelor of Science degree at UBC's Vancouver campus.
Mm-hmm. Our next question comes from a high school student in the International Baccalaureate program, and they're wondering if we do accept students from the IB program, and if we award transfer credits. And yes, we do. UBC is one of the many universities that do accept IB credits. We actually accept, I believe, the most IB students in Canada. And what we do is we do recognize that the IB curriculum is quite rigorous. And so there are a number of different courses that we offer transfer credit for. So transfer credit means that we acknowledge that you've completed enough coursework to be equivalent to a first-year course here at UBC. So for example, if you complete calculus to a certain level in the IB program, we can then award you first year math credit for that here at UBC. So you may not actually have to take the course depending on your program, or you can actually take the course again and aim for a higher grade. And so IB is definitely accepted here at UBC, and along with that, we do accept AP credits as well, so the advanced placement for many of our American students here. So if you've completed any courses in the AP program, depending on, again, the score that you receive in the AP course, we will be able to award you transfer credit for that course. So if you do take any AP or IB courses, I recommend that you visit our, again, admission website at you.ubc.ca. On that site, we do list out all the different courses that you can take in the AP or IB program and their equivalent transferable course at UBC. So you can see which courses are equivalent to and which courses you'll receive transfer credit for. So if you do have any courses that are not on the list, feel free to contact us on our website and we can let you know if your course is eligible for transfer credit.
And just to let you know, we continue to see more people logging in to this session, and we are actually nearing the end of our presentation. So if you do have questions as a new participant, please do submit your questions, and we will try to get to it in the last few minutes that we have here, just by simply going into the text box and submitting it. The presentation is recorded, so you can go back and review the full presentation, and I'm sure that most of your questions will be answered. Another question here, just wondering about in general, the success rate of students once they get into UBC, how many people are who fail out? That's a tough question. I actually don't have the specific statistics on that. It is quite high, though. It's around 90% or more of students continue on in their upper years. So I think part of that is because if you get accepted to UBC or UBC Vantage College, the admission criteria to get in, if you get that offer, most likely that means that you are going to be a student that is going to be able to succeed at UBC. And certainly we hope that through UBC Vantage College, for those of you who would be admitted to UBC Vantage College, that we will try to make it even more so that you will be able to succeed, particularly based on your English language. So I hope that answers your question there.
Definitely. We do have a question here from one of our new participants. They're asking about one of our graduate programs, the MBA program, and if how to apply to that program. Unfortunately, Mark and I mainly deal with undergraduate students, and so we're not probably the best, most qualified people to answer that question right now. But we do recommend that if you are interested in any of our graduate programs, the first place to visit is our graduate studies website. So if you do a quick web search for UBC Graduate Studies, you'll find a full list of graduate study programs that we offer here at UBC, and then each of our graduate programs have their own dedicated website. So I'm sure if you enter in another search for UBC MBA, you'll be able to find more information in regards to the requirements for the MBA program and what exactly is necessary to get into our graduate program there. So unfortunately, we are unable to answer that question in detail at this time, but please feel free to visit the MBA website or the graduate study website for more information.
Yeah, and you can find that particularly at the Sauder website. It is a 16-month program, and they do very much upfront have a lot of the criteria about the GMAT requirement, the number of years of work experience, the expected GPA from your bachelor degree, etc. Very accessible there. So, and if you have questions, you can email us, and if you're having trouble finding the information, that email up there, info@vantagecollege.ubc.ca, will you'll reach either Lee or myself. We both have access to that email address. And again, for any of the questions that may be coming up here, feel free to let us know as well.
Okay, so it looks like we're almost out of time here. Now, does anyone want to make sure that we leave ample time to answer any questions? So again, just a couple minutes left, so please enter any more questions that you may have. Otherwise, let's see here, we have about 5 minutes left. And so for those, again, who just joined, this session is recorded, but we'll move on to our next question here, and it's in regards to the meal plan and what exactly is included in the meal plan, what is the meal plan. And so earlier I had addressed that there are many restaurants on campus, but we do have a dining hall here in the residence as well. And so in the dining hall in Place Vanier, for example, where many of our UBC Vantage College students will be staying, there is what is known as a salad bar. So you can create your own salad. There's many fresh fruit options as well. There's a fresh sandwich bar as well. So you can go to any of the servers and create your own sandwiches there. Whereas we have a grill, so if you're interested in having a burger, they make fresh hamburgers there. There's also a fresh pizza area. There's also 2 areas where you can get like Asian cuisine. And then there's another one where you can get more Western food as well. So there's quite a wide variety of food options in the dining hall. So what you can do is once you receive your UBC student card, you put on money like a debit card, and you load that up with your funds. And so students will be expected to pay at least 3 installments for the meal plan. So once when they're accepted to the university later in October, and then once more in term 2 towards in the spring. Then that money will sit on your UBC student card. Then every time that you go and go to the dining hall or any of the some of the restaurants on campus, you can use that debit card as a method of payment, and the money will come off that card. Now, if you ever run out of money on your dining card or your student card there, you can automatically load up more money, and so you just go online, and then if you have access to a credit card or your parents may be able to give you that information, you can load up your student card with more money, and so you won't run out of points at the end of the day to access any of the food services.
I
Yep.
believe you can even use it to swipe for your Starbucks coffee. We don't
Mhm.
recommend it because it's at extra points, but we'll let you strategize what you want to use your card for. So
Mhm.
I just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, so the student card is quite valuable. That is your main piece of ID here at UBC. You'll use it to get into the gym, for example, or if you want to get into the aquatic center, you'll need to show your student card. So you make sure that you do keep it safe once you do arrive on campus. But again, it is your main card and your main source of in your dining hall as well. So it acts just like a debit card. So if many of you have one already, then you'll definitely be able to use that in the dining hall.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we are very much at the end of this session. So I just want to recap. You know, we are here presenting this evening, this morning, wherever you are, about UBC Vantage College, based at UBC's or the University of British Columbia's Vancouver campus. This coming August 14th will be the very first year that we offer this program. So we're very excited about this as a new first year experience to a 4-year Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science degree. Some of the unique things about it, as we mentioned earlier, which you can go back for those who weren't here earlier to look at the presentation. You are a UBC student. As a UBC Vantage College student, you have access to all the resources, the facilities that any UBC student would have. Your faculty members, it is delivered and created by UBC faculty members. So you have the opportunity to be working with faculty members right from your first year at UBC Vantage College. It's an integrated program, so that means that all of the academic content, your math, your physics, political science, whichever of the courses that you are taking, will have English language support embedded in the courses that you are taking. And that's done because we have English academic faculty working together with our core academic faculty in the maths and sciences and arts areas to be able to really enmesh the English and the academic content together. You have a faculty mentorship program, so you will be able to work with faculty on a final research project, a capstone project as we would call it, where basically you take everything that you learned through the year and put it together towards a final research project. So this is something that you can add to your experience as a UBC student. You have a project that you've already completed, and then you can go on to second year and continue your studies. So this is very much a program that is designed not to hold you back. And in fact, it will be a program that we expect will challenge you just as any first year UBC student will be challenged by the program. So it's really, we think at this point is a unique program that exists, and certainly it being at UBC, which as many of you know, is one of the world's leading universities and certainly one of the top institutions in Canada. This is a great opportunity, and we look forward to hearing from you. Again, just to reiterate, to contact us on info@vantagecollege.ubc.ca if you have any questions that we did not answer. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to them all. Then we also have you.ubc.ca, which is where all of our admissions question or information is. So regardless of where you're coming from, it will tell you if you're coming from India or from China, what the credentials and the requirements are. We also have very active social media communications channels online here. So if you want to see what other students are asking, often there will be answers and ways to connect with other students there as well. So we do hope that you do connect with us, and we will be more than happy to reach out.
Yes, and again, please contact us by email. But please be aware that it is Friday evening here in Vancouver, and so Mark and I will be heading home fairly shortly, and we won't be accessing our email this weekend. However, we'll get back to you Monday morning as soon as possible. Then we'll answer any of your questions that may come in over this weekend. So thank you once again for joining us for our presentation. It's been a pleasure answering all your questions. And again, if you do have any more, please feel free to contact us. On behalf of Mark and myself, Lee, thank you, and hopefully we'll see you here soon at UBC.